Hey guys, RTT back here from that video, guys. Today, it looks like Intel has officially now trying to ruin the Apple M1 chips. Now, we kind of expected this might happen with how powerful the M1 chips. I just did a review 4 days ago of the M1 versus my i9-9900K. And what happened? Yeah, the M1 destroyed it in every single circumstance. I have not tested it in gaming yet, and I will be testing gaming sometime very soon. But again, that does rely more on the GPU rather than a CPU, unless we're going to go out here and, test CSGO, which I might test CSGO because that is very heavy CPU related game. Anyway, though, guys, Intel is now upset that they're in third place behind Apple. It now goes AMD, Apple, Intel. For the longest time, Intel was the top dog. And let's be honest, they can't accept the fact that they have fallen off. And they have. They definitely have. They gotten lazy with production. They haven't been putting their best effort out there. AMD came back with a strike, and now Apple is coming in with the M1 chips. So how does Intel fix this situation? They release benchmarks. Showing why they're better than the M1 chip. Let's get into it, guys. Let's look at these benchmarks and try to compensate what Intel is doing. Comparing the most popular web browsers, Chrome, running native versions of both Intel and Apple processors, 11th gen system is more than 30% faster than nearly 3 times faster in the online photo enhancement versus the M1. Comparing Microsoft Office 365 running native on both Intel and Apple processors, the 11th generation system performs some functions like PDF export up to 2.3 times faster. Intel, y'all really doing this, huh? You're gonna take every little detail. Now, guys, let me go ahead and tell you real fast. This is how scummish Intel has gotten. No. They have not just simply did this, right? Whatever. What they did was they used different hardware when running these tests, when running all of these benchmarks. So it wasn't the same consistent every single time. Okay, this exact setup. In science, right? You have a controlled variable. If you're running a benchmark, you should have a controlled variable every time you run the same benchmark, correct? Intel. Listen. You guys are done. You guys have fallen behind the M1. Just accept it. Anyway, though, they're not going to accept it. So they're showing right here why the Intel 11th generation is better than the M1 chip. Intel, man, come on, guys. I get it. It's not easy to admit when you're wrong. It's not easy, okay? But you're wrong. So here they have content creation performance, new AI-based content creation tools from Topaz Lab performing up to 6 times faster on the Intel 11th generation processors. Using native versions of Premiere Pro on both systems, 11th generation processors showed up to 1.7 times performance advances in some export functions. Now, I'm going to say the elephant in the room here, okay? Time out. This is the first generation of the M1 chips. In 1 month, we're getting the M1X chips. We're going to get Generation 2 of these chips. Intel is benchmarking their brand new for 11 different generations versus a first generation of an item. If you guys know anything about the Surface Duo, you know first generations aren't good. This is their first generation. And they're already saying, "Oh no, we're 30% faster than M1. We're 30% faster." What happens when the M1X comes out? Intel, are you gonna say you're 30% faster than that? Because you're not. Because the M1X, it's supposed to be, I think it's 35% faster than the M1. But now you're 5% behind the M1X. Huh? That's interesting. Intel, y'all lost. I'm sorry. Technology grew fast and you guys wasn't caring enough. Gaming performance. That's what we care about, honestly, as gamers. Games that could run on the M1, or games that run on the M1, and games that don't run on the M1. Obviously, they're showing Intel, more games run on Intel than they do the M1. What's the point of that? Oh, here's a benchmark of everything that my thing can do. Oh yeah, by the way, you can't do half of this. Well, why put it in there? Oh, just to show you and remind you it can't run these games. The first generation of a CPU, and it already blows past 90% of your CPUs. To a point where Apple doesn't even need to come out with a brand new Intel i11 chipset for the new MacBooks. They're going to come out with the M1X. There's going to be no more Intel MacBooks. They don't even, they sell the Intel i9s because they have them still, but I don't even know if they're going to manufacture them once the M1Xs come out. You're trying. It's a validant. I think that's the word. Effort. But it's over, man. It's over, guys. It's over. So more benchmarks. It's about real world. Now listen. This is how what it comes down to. Right now at the moment, I have the Mac Mini, obviously. If you have the money to buy a Mac Mini, you can. If you have the money to buy a Mac Pro, you can. Mac Pro is obviously $6,000, $7,000, $8,000. You have a MacBook Pro, MacBook Air, you go for that. If you are going for gaming, 100% gaming, I recommend going with a Nvidia, a Intel or an AMD. If you're going for gaming, for AMD. And this is a guy who I've loved Intel my whole entire life. But you can't go against numbers right now. You can't. Until Intel comes out with numbers that really skyrocket and destroy the AMD side, you can't tell me. I mean, they came out with a new 11th generation processor that compares, it's supposed to be an upgrade, not from the latest and greatest Intel i10 processors. They're second greatest. Or not second greatest, but 9900K. So, if you're going with gaming and you're trying to build a strictly gaming rig, go Intel or AMD. If you're going for video editing, if you're going for photo photography, upgrade like that, then you got M1 chip and you got AMD. If you're strictly, there's no real anything else to talk about. The only time I say you go with Intel, hey, but I'm lost for words. But hey, we got PCI 4.0 on Intel 11th generation. Finally, Intel, you did it. AMD did it too. For like the last 3 years. But, we're not talking about that. Alright, but this is not a video. This is a video crapping on Intel in a way. And I still love Intel though. I mean, like I said, I've been loving Intel my whole entire life. I love Intel. But at some point, Intel, you have to admit it when you lost. And they lost. And it's not a bad thing. Listen, people will take this, right, and say, it's an awful thing. Intel is getting destroyed. You're hating on Intel. First of all, like I said, I do love Intel. I think Intel is amazing. They will always be my preferred preference, in all honesty, for CPUs. But right now, if I'm recommending anything, I'm not recommending Intel. I'm recommending AMD. I'm recommending the M1 chip. I just said you have your preferred preferences. If you are going, I would not recommend going to Intel. I still love them. I still will always love them. I think this is a step back for them, but in the future, they can get back on the high horse and become the top dog again. But with how the M1 is right now and the M1X is about to come out, it's really hard for them to take back over lead in this fight. So again, it's going to take them a little bit of time, but at the moment, Intel, y'all lost. Just take the L, maybe take a couple years, fix it, come out with the best product possible, and put it out there. You had the whole entire market for 15 years. You lost. Just fix it. That's all I'm saying here, man. But don't come out with benchmarks trying to fake your way into the 11th generation is better than the M1. It's not. Now, you could make the argument that you can't put your own custom GPU in an I'm looking at the Mac Mini, but like if you are truly going for a Mac Pro, then they have their own GPUs, and you can then kind of make the argument there that you can't get a certain GPU in a MacBook Pro. You would have to get whatever Apple is going ahead and selling, and in the price tags and all that crap. But anyway, but AMD covers all that. They destroy all that. So, guys, thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit a like and comment down below. I'll see you guys next one. Peace out.